We now continue in our service with the Baruch Hu. If you would like to rise at home, you may, or we can rise in your hearts. Let's join together now with the Baruch Hu. Let's continue now with our creation blessing, Ma'ariv Aravim. We're going to do the setting from Noam Katz's Roll into Dark.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Oreyom halayla, golel or mipnei choshet, golel or mipnei choshet, v'choshet mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Shema Yisrael Adonai Elohim Adonai Echad Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam Va'ed.
As we affirm God's oneness, we now continue with the V'ahavta, expressing our love for God and our commitment to follow God's path.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו עשיתם את כל מצוותיי הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Released from the darkness, our people found them at the sea. You have stayed long enough at this place, God said. Time to go forward. Turn your face to the future. Believe that you can cross this sea and survive. Inside you is a Moses. Within you, Miriam dances unafraid. Lift up your voice and sing a new song. Mi chamocha. We should do something where I just lip sync to all of the music. I think that would go over really
Hey,
well.
there's an idea, Rabbi.
There's an idea. We can do Temple B'nai Israel lip sync battle.
All right. That's right. I love it.
That'd be fantastic.
Oh, good.
Okay, let's continue. Cause us, Adonai, our God, to lie down in peace and to awaken each morning to renewed life and strength. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Help us to order our lives by your counsel and lead us in the paths of righteousness. Be a shield about us, protecting us from hate and war, from pestilence and sorrow. Curb also within us the inclination to do evil, and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Guard our going out and our coming in unto life and peace, from this time forth and forever. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
Hashivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom. Ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom. Ve'amidenu shomreinu
And now we're going to continue with Vishamru as we rejoice in the gift that is Shabbat.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat b'dorotam b'ridoram. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat b'dorotam b'ridoram. V'ni uven b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat b'dorotam b'ridoram. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו.
Now we're going to continue with the Amidah HaTefillah. Again, you can rise in your hearts, you can rise on your feet. We join together in this prayer.
Adonai, Sefati tiftach ufi, yagid tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avram, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'konei hakol, ve'zocher chasdei avot ve'imot, u'mebi geula lifnei b'neihem, leman shemo ve'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah rav lehoshia. Morid hatal, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim berofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, Mishenei afar, mi chamocha ba'al geburot, u'mido melech, melech memit u'mechayeh, u'matzliach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Eternal source of good, we thank you for the numberless gifts and blessings that fill our days, for life itself and its endless variety, for all that sustains body and mind, for love and friendship, for the delights of the senses, and for the excellence of your Torah, which deepens our lives and enriches our days. Help us, O God, to work for a just and compassionate society, where all may share your gifts in the joy of freedom. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose name is goodness, and who is worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot. Peace happiness and blessing, grace and love and mercy. May these descend upon us, on all Israel and all the world. Bless us, our Creator, one and all, with the light of your presence. For by that light, O God, you have revealed to us the law of life, to love kindness and justice and mercy, to seek blessing, life, and peace. Oh, bless your people Israel and all peoples with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael ba shalom. We now continue as we turn our thoughts to those in our community who are in need of healing, whether they are in need of physical, mental, or spiritual healing. We take them into our hearts at this time of prayer. Let's join together now in the Misha Berach.
May the source of spring, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberak imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We are thinking of and wishing a refuah shlema to Janice Berman, Evan Bin, Fran Brickman, Mark Edelstein, Brian Edelstein, Mark Enfinger, Danielle Heyman Feist, Linda Fine, Eric Fisk, Buddy Green, Vicky Hano, Marvin Hollander, Fran Kipling, Lori Cattleman, Hank Corin, Wendy Sugarman Krasnoff, Wendy Laprade, Elsa Mikosh, Miriam Marins, Carolee Pizzuti, Janet Polfrey, Jane Rifkin, Jess Rifkin, Ed Ross, Kevin Shower, Cal Simon, Dr. Cindy Steinman, Pete Tanner, Jean Weissman, and Janet White. We also think of all of those suffering with COVID-19, all those who are working to treat those who are afflicted. As we say, Amen.
And let us say, Amen.
Now let's continue with a moment of silent prayer and reflection.
שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
It really is wonderful to see everyone here. It's just, I really love being able to see all these faces I haven't seen, some in a little while. It's really just really delightful and adds so much to the Shabbat experience. So Laura, where are you? There you are. Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, I know. I just I expanded the box here, and so now I have all these faces in front of me and trying to find you. There you are. Okay. So yes. You probably had this experience also when you ask somebody who's an adult what their Torah portion was for the bar or bat mitzvah. They don't always have the name of it, but they can tell you sort of what was in it. Have you had that experience? Yeah, I mean, like sometimes I can tell you, oh, you know, it was Korach, oh, it was Naso, or whatever it is. But they usually say, it was the one with Jacob's ladder. Oh, it was the one with the flood. Oh, it was something like that. The one with the golden calf. More than saying, oh, it was Ki Tisa, and I had versus whatever it was. But for this week's Torah portion, it's the one with the skin disease. The one.
Oh.
Yeah, the one with the skin disease. You get that one, and they're never thrilled when they say it, that they got the one about leprosy or tzara'at, however they're going to frame it. It's not a favorite Torah portion. But every once in a while, and it's probably one of the few times that we can actually say this from the Bima, this portion actually fits perfectly well with our circumstances because it is all about a plague. It is all about illness and response to illness. And so I really think that in itself, I think it's the first time probably in thousands of years, people have said, oh, good, it's Mitzorah, it's Sarat. This makes perfect sense with what we're going through today. It's perfectly relatable. So this skin disease, Sarat, this affliction that we read about in Leviticus, it really is bizarre because we go through all these passages about, well, if the skin is white and scaly, and if there's a hair that's here, and if it looks like this, and if it looks like that, then it's Sarat, then it's this skin disease. And if not, it's fine, it's something else. But if it is Sarat, if it is this skin disease, the person has to be isolated. Sound familiar? They have to be isolated. They have to be quarantined. Michutz lamachaneh, outside of the camp. They have to be sent out so they don't infect others. And so they have to go out for a time of purification. And they're only let back in when they are deemed tahor, when they are deemed pure by the priest. So the priest has to go out of the camp and find this person and examine them and see if something has changed in their circumstance, if they have healed. If not, it's another week. They're back in isolation for that week, and then they get checked back in on again to see how they're doing. And so it's that balance between being tahor, being pure, and tameh, being impure. Now, there's many different drashot on the idea of what Sarat actually was. It's most frequently connected to the idea of Lashon Hara, to give someone a bad name, motzi shem ra. You get to be a metzora. You get to be someone who is afflicted with sarat. You get this punishment. And so the isolation is seen not only as perhaps a physical, purification, but also a spiritual, emotional purification as well. But I think about the priests and I think about their job because they had to go and work with the people afflicted with this condition. They had to go out, and if it was something they believed that was transmittable between people, the priests themselves could also be exposed and could be infected. So it makes me think about the essential workers today, the ones who are out ministering to the people with sarat, with our version of sarat in a way, with COVID-19, with coronavirus, with our current illness, the outbreak that is spreading. That these people don't have the luxury of staying home. They are out there treating the afflicted and ministering them and helping them. These are the doctors, the nurses, all the medical professionals who are out helping. And I think it's really an important thing to think about today, that they are going out and they are risking their own health, because we all know they're taking precautions, of course, but they are out there risking their own health and their own well-being in the service of others. And it's not only doctors and nurses and medical professionals. There are so many people out there today helping us, get on with our day-to-day lives through this, challenging time. We have policemen, we have firefighters, we have other emergency service professionals. But we even think of the day-to-day people working in groceries, in supermarkets, in shops that are remaining open to give people the things that they need. Delivery workers, truck drivers, really all people who are out there. I think we have to give them a special acknowledgement and our thanks for continuing to work through this very difficult time and help all of us who have the ability to stay home. But it's not only the priest, I think, and the essential workers that we need to be thinking about during this time period. Obviously, the Torah portion, the portion of Mitzorah, Tazria Mitzorah, I should say, speaks about the sufferer and what it means to suffer illness and what it means to go through something that is traumatic and something that actually forces you to leave your home and to be outside of your normal community. God forbid, many of us can think about a time in our lives when we were hospitalized, maybe when we had to be separated from other people and then treated. It's a very isolating feeling. It's a very lonely feeling. It's a very oriented feeling. And so the people here afflicted with sarat, they were going through all of these emotions, and they were alone in their suffering. They were alone waiting to be examined to see if they can come back into the community. And so in our way, I think each of us can empathize a little bit more about what it means to be a metzorah, what it means to be someone who is isolated from the community, because we all in our own way, all on our different levels, are feeling more isolated than we used to. This didn't used to be our condition, 7 weeks ago. We can go where we wanted, do what we wanted, be with our friends, be with our family, travel, not worrying about physical distancing, 6 feet apart, leave the groceries at the door. This was not our world. And now it's different for us. We're all experiencing greater separation. We are meeting virtually, instead of meeting in person, just so we get through the challenging period together. But one thing about the Metzorah, and in our situation as well, is at the end, it's going to get better in the future. It might not be as fast as we want it to be, but it's going to get better. Eventually, we're going to come to a time of tahor, of purity once again. But I think that if we take anything from this experience, is that it should give us a greater sense of empathy, a greater sense of understanding for people who feel cut off, not only because of COVID, but just speaking, there are those of us who I think feel cut off and feel estranged, whether it's because of a physical ailment, a disability that cannot allow them to be involved in the same way that they would like to, someone who has a psychological disorder, a condition, someone who is not neurotypical, those who do not have access due to financial constraints, those who are excluded due to race, religion, sexual or gender. There are many people who feel michutz lamachane, outside the camp. Okay, they're outside the camp and they're waiting for somebody to come and reach out to them, someone to come out and tell them that it's okay, someone to help bring them into the community and the greater circle. And that to me is all of our responsibilities, because we as Jews, we are, from the Israelite people, the Mamlechet Kohanim, we are a kingdom of priests. We are all, so to speak, the essential workers. We are all the ones who can reach out, who have the ability to make people feel welcomed, embraced, despite the differences, despite things that might separate or alienate them from the community, if it is not for the work of those of us who can bring them in, who can perform that kiruv, who can perform that outreach. And so now I think, as we are going through this coronavirus challenge, that it's for ourselves, we should think not only at this time, certainly this time we should be performing that virtual outreach, those phone calls, those texts, those emails, those Facebook encounters, whatever we can do to connect virtually. But to remember when this finishes, that it doesn't stop then, that there are people who always feel, perhaps on the outside looking in, and how it's our responsibility to bring them into our community, to make them feel wanted, appreciated, and valued, because you know what, they are. They're valuable people who are just, maybe feeling alone, and how much of a mitzvah it is for us to be able to bring them in. So let's all, take into our hearts as we move forward, that when we get to the time when the CDC comes out and says, tahor, tahor, purity everywhere. They probably won't use those exact words, but if they do, come out and say it is a time of purity and cleanliness and we're all fine, let's go out and make sure that we respond to those who feel maybe marginalized with compassion, with love, and with empathy. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
We're going to continue now. During the time between Passover and Shavuot, there's a tradition called counting the Omer, and this tradition dates back, thousands of years. The idea is that we are marching on our way to Sinai. We are leaving Egypt, and we are, trying to get from the point of redemption from slavery to the time of revelation of Torah at Mount Sinai. And so we're all sort of going along this road, along this path, and we're counting every day. And there are many interpretations of this tradition, but one of them that I like is that during this time, we count every day to remind ourselves that every day counts, and that we shouldn't take any moments for granted. And so with that, I'm going to recite the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al sifirat haomer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all worlds, who has made us holy with your mitzvot and commanded us concerning the counting of the Omer. Hayom shisha asar yom shehem shnei shavuot u'shnei yamim la Omer. Today is the 16th day, making 2 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. We're going to continue now in our service. I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. And we're going to continue with Aleinu. As I scroll down, here we go.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, Ushamo, 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 Echad.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We recall loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. We are observing the Shloshim period for the memory of Maxine Roth, sister of Judy Klein, and the aunt of Stephen Klein. Actually, what I can do here, and we think of those whom death has taken from us in the past year. Hilda Sachs, Edwin Schumann, Roland Fox, Robert Sand, Lee Benjamin, Jim Shapiro, Mildred Cohn, Vita Felmis, Jay North, and Gwen Hirschfield. And we think of those who died of the season in years past. Sam Beanstalk, Sarah Bennett, Alexander A. Berger, Helen Bishop, Sue Borman, Bess Entel, Paul Falk, Betty H. Fine, Darwin Frank, Sanford Glanz, Ida E. Gordon, Margie Granoff, Esther Hershoren, Alexander A. Isman, Tessie Jacoby, Marjorie Last Johns, Faye Joseph, Fania Candel, Gerald Cantor, Arnis Casper, Eliezer Kentov, Minna Kipling, Ellen Kirstein, Carolyn Joy Crone, Howard S. Lawrence, Seymour Lipman, Sylvia Morris, Erwin Jack Nathanson, Melvin Palkis, Philip Pollock, Marlene Van Posnack, David Ruffenbender, Alfred Schick, Etta Stein, Mary Goldberg Stern, Mikolos Salovitz, Irving Weinzimmer, Edward Weiss, Edith Winner, and Carol B. Jovanovich. We take all of them into our hearts as we together recite Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shmei Rabbah, B'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam l'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudisha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yama v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Announcements. I have a past president and a temple president on right now. That's very exciting. Would either of them like to make an announcement? You can raise your hand. I'm going to unmute you for a second. Okay, you are both duly unmuted. Nope. I can't unmute you, Paul. There we go.
Now I can unmute me.
There we go.
There you go.
Well, like Nina said during the, that we need to refer to the website a lot so that we can get the upcoming classes and the events that we have, and to go to Facebook and keep in touch with each other. I really think that's a great message.
Excellent. Very nice. Nina, anything to add?
Nothing to add. I'm unprepared for this. So next Friday, I'll be prepared.
Hey, you see?
Yes.
You had everything else controlled, but now the rabbi's putting you on the spot. What do you got?
I've got one thing. In case people aren't aware, our Thursday night, what used to be choir rehearsal is now a Thursday night songs to lift the spirits. And so it is a way for people to join together on Zoom to sing and enjoy some music and just kind of lift our spirits. And we also do some prayers for healing so that we extend those out into the world each week together. And so if you're interested in joining in on that, please email me and or check our temple website for these Zoom meeting information.
I'm going to mention a couple of things in the spirit of checking Facebook and the website. I'm going to mention that next week's a very important week in the Jewish calendar because next week is Yom HaZikaron, which is Israel's Memorial Day for their fallen soldiers, and Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel Independence Day. And so for those 3 days, please be on the lookout on Facebook for programming from the synagogue and programming from the URJ and other Jewish organizations. We're going to be posting things on the Facebook page so people can come together and really embrace their Zionist spirit. We are lovers and supporters of Israel, and so it's time for us to really rejoice in the state of Israel. So please be on the lookout for that information. Now it's late in May. It's going to be a little while, but our Shavuot plans are already in gear with Temple Beth El down in St. Petersburg. Rabbi Torp and I are going to be leading a Torah study discussion on Shavuot Eve. And then on the morning, we're going to do a Yisker service together. And so there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming up. We have some challah bakes coming up. We had one today with Danny and Bridget teaching us how to make challah from crescent rolls. So you don't have to do as much kneading with that, but they had a really good time with the youth group with it. And I know Margaret Morgan is going to be leading a challah bake, and also WTBI is putting one on as well. And so I really think it's going to be wonderful. We could think of like B'nai Israel bakes. And maybe every week somebody can do, it doesn't have to be a challah, but some kind of like baking expose. Who makes a really good pie? I knew Polly was going to laugh at that one. See, Polly used to laugh at my jokes.
That's his favorite.
Yeah. Even though she's leaving the presidency, she still has to laugh at my jokes. So Polly, definitely thank you for that. And again, be on the lookout. As Nina spoke about at the annual meeting, we're really going to be working on content and putting things up so we can stay connected to each other, our own synagogue content and things from around the social media world of Jewish interests. So please be on the lookout for all that good stuff. And again, another huge thank you to everyone for being here tonight, not only for Shabbat services, but for the annual meeting. We really got a lot accomplished today. Very impressed with how it went. Again, a big thank you to everyone who helped make it happen. With that said, we're going to do Motzi, but don't sign off after Motzi because I'm going to unmute everybody after Motzi and give a chance for everyone to say Shabbat Shalom to each other and just catch up for a couple minutes, sort of a virtual oneg. Okay, so let's join together first in the Motzi.
Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread.
Thank you, God.
Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
The Shabbat croissant.
Shabbat Shalom.
When you forget to get challah, it's a Shabbat croissant. Before I unmute everybody, the one thing I did forget, of course, in the announcements that Polly did make mention of, which I appreciate at the annual meeting, is that the food drive that we've been doing, that's still continuing. So for those who missed it in the annual meeting, I just wanted to make sure I repeated it, that at Ellen Petracco's home, that we are collecting canned goods, anything that is dry goods, storable food for the pantry at Jewish Family Service, Gulf Coast Family Service and RCS. So it's really important if you have the time, if you're out already, it's a no contact food drive. You're just going to go, you're going to drop it off and you're going to leave. People would really appreciate that. It's really, again, an important time to think of those who are in need. And so it's going to be at Ellen Petracco's home, which you can find that on Shul Cloud and on flyers. And we've published information. You can get in contact with her. She and Ruth Dobkin have really been phenomenal with creating this project and giving us an opportunity to do some tikkun olam, even in this difficult time. So with that, I'm going to stop the live stream.